everyone, and welcome to In the Know 360, show hosted by me, Annette, the warm hearted warrior diva. This show gives you insights on the journeys of high achieving business owners and music artists who share with the audience the importance of building a strong community of like minded individuals on the road to greater success. And tonight, I have the pleasure and honor of welcoming Dr. LaJaye Britt. Yay!
Yes, yes. How you doing, my sister in love? God bless you. It's good to be on your platform. How are you?
Thank you so
And
much,
all of
sir.
your
God bless
followers.
you.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
love it. I love
It's a
it.
pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Well, with that being said, let's just go ahead and dive right into it. So, who is Dr. LaJaye Britt?
Oh wow, man. Well, there's so many layers to who I am. Some people like to say they're a son of a preacher and things like that, which I am. I come from a very spiritual household, and but I had a lot of turns and twists in my life from a very early age, and I think that's what started shaping who LaJaye Britt became, and so right away, the Bible teaches us that we are born into who we are, and where our gifts and our talents are given to us at birth, so if you are an apostle, if you are a prophet, if you are whoever God gifted you to be, you are born with that gift. It is birthed out, it is birthed
Mhm,
in you.
mhm,
And at some point or another in your life, God birthing, um, birthing that out of you. And for
mhm,
me, it started birthing, He started honing that thing and birthing that thing out of me very, very early. I had my first, and we like to always say, when you're going through something great, you go through a process.
mhm,
And I had my first tragic moment at the age of 4 or 5 years old when my whole body caught on fire, and I was in a ball of blaze of fire, and to the miracle, the surprise, that when they put me out, the only thing that was burned was, just part of the middle part of my arm. And even at that point, the doctor said there was like absolutely no
mhm,
way that they could save my arm. There was like no way. He says, he's going to lose this arm. And so my grandparents was like, he came into this world with two arms. He's going to leave this world with two arms. So you got to do whatever you got to do
mhm,
to save this arm. And it was at that point that the doctors, back then, they had no clue what they was going to do to
mhm,
try to save my arm. It was literally nothing there. They can literally take two fingers and pull it off. It was like nothing. They didn't know what they was going to do. And I spent 2 years of my life in the hospital, DC General, straight in the hospital, having hundreds of surgeries
mhm,
of them trying to find some kind of way to save my arm. And behold, 2 years later, I came out with my arm, and I always figured it was ugly, and but it was I still had two arms, and that was the first process that
mhm,
um, that started. And when I came home, immediately after I came home, I was having a coming home party.
mhm,
I think at that time I was 7 years old because I had spent like 2 years in the hospital. I think I was 7 years old when I came home,
mhm,
and I was sitting at the bottom of the steps, and my little auntie, who was a couple years older than me, she threw a Coca-Cola bottle down the steps, and I don't think she meant it, and the Coca-Cola bottle bounced off the steps, hit me in the crown of the head, and bust my head wide open. You can literally see my brain. And back to the hospital I go.
Oh my
And
God.
from that point, spent like 8 months in the hospital with
Oh
them
my
trying to save
God.
my life. And so when I came out of the hospital
Mm,
at that second turn, um, that's when I started being the family entertainment
mm,
and dancing around the house. And the old James Brown records that had his picture on there, they
mm,
would put the record on, and I would get broom handles, act like it was a guitar or a microphone, and I would
mhm,
just sweep around the house and sing and dance and play. And everybody figured that I had some kind of talent,
mm,
that this guy is special,
mhm,
and I became a natural performer, and
mhm,
they would gift me by putting money in this little cookie jar head we
mhm,
had, my aunties and all of them. And so I grew up from there, figuring, man,
mhm,
this is what I was born to do, and this was what I was meant to do, and so it seems like as I got older and the more prevalent
mhm,
my
mhm,
gifts began to come out, um, I began to face more tragedies in my life
mhm.
that that almost that literally took my life, and God kept me here,
Mm,
and my gifts was just going so fast, so I didn't know what to, at the time, didn't know what to really do with it, didn't know how to handle it.
mm,
And it was crazy. I became a hot mess. A lot of things happened to me and things like that. But, you know, so that was the start of building who LaJaye Britt became, you know. So
wow.
that's where it started for me at a very early age. Yeah.
Wow. That's a testimony in itself from birth. I mean, gosh, wow. Thank you for sharing that story. I'm lost for words, to be honest with you.
it's,
you,
it's,
you got,
it's it goes. I tell you, and we're writing a book. We're doing
mm,
a documentary.
yeah.
But I prayed, and my family and I, we prayed, and we said,
Mhm.
I wanted to wait until my music career was
Wow.
done and focus on the book itself. And
Mhm.
the book is Broken Chains: The Untold Story.
Mm,
So I wanted to really just delve into the
wow.
start to finish
Mm,
of just how I became who I am, and just so many layers and layers
wow.
of what happened, and where the music part, the ministry part, the life
Mhm.
part,
Mhm.
because truly all of those things has really helped me change other
Mhm.
people's lives. So if I had not been through the process I have
Mhm.
been through, I would not been able to inflict or affect the lives that I
Mhm.
affected. So God has allowed me to invoke that change on other people's lives. So to
Mm,
literally see um, gang members
mm,
turning their flags,
mm.
to see young men who had guns on them and lay their
Yeah.
guns on the altar
Oh,
and
wow.
crying on my shoulders was breathtaking,
Mm,
and people coming up to me in churches and at concerts and saying that I literally saved their life, and things
wow.
like that. And so it was just so many things that was not captured on
Mhm.
camera and things like that. So, and I think, God just wanted it that way
Mhm.
because I was always the type of person that I never wanted my life or my gifts to be competitional.
Mm.
And, I always been that way. So even in my early years, when they were calling preachers to church, I don't know, you remember back then when they used to call preachers to church,
Mhm.
when you get a when you turn in your resume at a church and then they vote on you and they see
Mhm.
who preached the best and this, that, and
Mhm.
the other. Well, I would get out of the running. I would tell
Mm.
him if that's the way you voting on a
Mm.
preacher or whatever, take me out.
Right.
Because if God didn't choose a person,
Mhm.
then I'm not the God for you. And so I was the same way. A lot of people don't know that I was a 3-time nominated artist, for awards, but I
Mhm.
pulled my name out of the running.
Mhm.
I always tell people, thanks for considering me, but
Yeah.
no thanks because I don't want to be in competition with another artist
Right.
that we should be touching lives and
Right.
changing lives together with our
Right.
music. So my music is not
Mhm.
here to be in competition with you. So,
Mhm.
I mean, that might be all fun and good, and it's a blessing, to be honored that way, but no thank you for me, you
Mhm.
know. So yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, we live in this world with my whole motto is showing love full circle. So that's my podcast. And I truly believe that when you help each other out, when you support each other, that it makes,
Exactly.
yeah, it makes the world a better place, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
saying
Exactly. And I've always
saying
been that type of
hello,
person to support,
right?
support. It costs literally nothing to tell a person you love them today,
Yeah.
to shake somebody's hand,
Hmm.
to it literally costs nothing, and you never know, what that person may be going through,
Hmm.
and sometimes, we're quick to say, and I don't know why I'm gonna say this, but somebody may need to hear it, but we're quick to say, God told me today, or the Lord spoke to me today, or
Hmm.
God showed me this today. But what about those times we in the grocery store and there might be somebody counting their pennies to try to pay for their groceries or something like
Yeah.
that, and if God's talking to you that much or what have you, what about those times where you just put all your stuff back
Yeah.
and just pay for that person's stuff,
Hmm.
because remember the rich man in the Bible that had much goods in his barn,
Hmm.
and he looked up and he said, "Man, I got a lot of goods. My barns is filled. I have everything. What should I do?" And then he said, "Man, I know what I'll do. I tear down my barns and I'll make bigger barns where I can store more goods." And the Lord told me, he says, "No, how about not do that?" He says, "How about sell all your goods and give to the poor?" And he went away sorrowful. He thought that was a bad idea, you
Hmm.
know. So, but see, God didn't tell him to give it away. He told him to sell it
Right.
and give something to the poor. So he didn't even look at it. He was still making money.
Right.
God was blessing him. So he missed the whole picture of
Right.
that. Yeah.
Just to piggyback on that, I mean, and I was telling artists before on the show that money, right, is energy, just like everything in life is energy. And I truly believe, even though the transaction wasn't an actual paper or coin, a transaction could be like today, let's go ahead. I'm going to take you to lunch. I'm going to take
Right,
you to
right,
dinner,
right.
like drive you to look at different places or whatever when you're in the city and when you're in their town. So that's the exchange, and I think
Mm-hmm.
people are missing the point of what service is, right?
Right,
And
right,
how you can reach people, because it's not
right,
necessarily the actual money or coin or paper, is the actual heart, right?
right. Exactly, 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 exactly. Because what we do, it reflects from our heart. It comes from our heart, and everybody think um, giving, or it's like the word tithe, giving your tithe. you know Everybody think giving your tithe or giving has to be a monetary thing, but I just love what you just said. Sometimes it's just taking somebody for a ride. You'd be surprised on how many people never get an opportunity to ride out and see areas that they never get a chance to see, and to
Right.
just get an opportunity. Or better yet, how many people don't get a chance to ride in a nice car? So if God is, if you've been blessed to have a nice smooth riding automobile, and you
Hmm.
see somebody who can barely get around, or you notice they always sitting on their porch, don't get a chance to get out somewhere, how about just say, hey ma'am, sir, how about if I today I'm going to take you out for a nice ride, and nice smooth
Hmm.
ride, and just see the sights,
Hmm.
and take you to lunch. Man, you know how much they
Yeah.
would enjoy that.
Oh
Say,
yeah.
man, I got to ride in a Lincoln today. I got to ride in an Escalade.
Right.
And they probably
Right.
never
Right.
rode in an Escalade before.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Yeah,
like that's another thing, just creating memories. You know how like you create memories with your kids, your family,
right,
your loved ones. You actually
right,
creating memories with people, your neighbors or whoever. You know what I mean? And that right there, it doesn't top a dollar.
right, right.
You'll
Exactly,
always remember
exactly.
that, and you'll always have that in your heart. So.
Exactly, exactly. I told somebody today, as a matter of fact, I said, what people need to do sometimes. I'll be talking to some people, and they be, they make conversation with me, and they might ask about some of my music sometime, and and I see they might get the wrong conception or the
Yeah.
wrong perception about my music. I tell them, you know what? Do me a favor, go back and listen to the lyrics of my song one more time,
Mhm.
and then come back and holler at me, and when they do that, they come back and they say, "Oh wow, you know what, man, I see what you're talking about. It's crazy, it's crazy, it's crazy." So I said, "Okay, my words are more than just a beat, or
Mhm.
more than just a smooth crooning voice." Because you have, the legendary, iconic Tony Terry on there,
Right.
or the melodicious sounds of LaJaye or whatever, you know.
Right.
Go and listen to what we're talking about, what we're
Right.
singing about, you
Mhm.
know. And that was the reasons why, I was never into a lot of riffing and running and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I had the opportunity years ago to
Right.
meet Mr. Luther Vandross,
Wow.
and he, it was, if I never ever can remember the conversation we had, I remember one powerful statement he said to me. You know, he says anybody can sing up and down the scale and sing all the ABCs, all the alphabet.
Mm.
He says, but not everybody can finesse a song and let the song breathe and
Mm.
woo and woo an audience. And I said, man, that right there stuck with me. It was crazy.
Mhm.
So he said, remember, he said, music got to breathe too. Words and music go together, you know. And so that
Mhm.
meant a lot to me. I caught on to what he was saying, right there. So you got to
Yeah.
let you got to let the music and the words. People got to have time to digest what you're saying. And they
Mhm.
can't digest what you're saying if you study stuffing stuff in their mouth, you know.
Mhm.
So by the time you feed them one line or feed them one piece of food, they still chewing on that. And here you stuffing something else down their mouth, you know. So they choking.
Right.
you know. So, so you know. So yeah, so and an old person said to me one time, you know, two people can't talk at the same time.
Mhm.
So, it don't bother me if I'm singing to you and you sitting there in a trance because
Mm.
that let me know I'm reaching into your heart. Sometimes all you can do is just, oh God, oh wow, you know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Yeah. So you're responding
Mhm.
by the way you're reacting to me. But if you're screaming over me,
Mhm.
then there's a good chance that you're not even paying attention to what I'm saying. So both of us
Exactly.
can't do the concert at the same time.
Yeah, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, that's not gonna work out at all. It's not gonna work at all.
Oh my goodness, that is so true, though.
I come
You
from the
know.
old school. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
me.
sorry.
Same here.
Some
Same here.
some people like it, Some people like it, but you know, I mean, they might feel good because that's what they get paid. That's what they get paid for, and they little 20 minutes on stage. But
Right.
you know, I mean, for their 20 minutes of fame or whatever, but it does nothing to make you rememberable down
Mm-mm.
the line. People remember you for this season, but
Right.
30
Exactly.
years from now, they don't even know who you are. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because, you know, so you want to become iconic,
Right.
because you just snatched their soul out. You know what I mean? So, so yeah.
Oh my God. So may um Luther Vandross rest in peace. He's like
Yeah.
one of my
Rest
favorite
in peace.
artists.
Yes, yes,
Like,
yes,
oh
yes,
my gosh, that man is
yes.
phenomenal.
He is. He just walked by the mic.
My goodness. Right? Mm. I got him on repeat whenever I need whenever I need to cry or need some help. I'm for real. He's on one of my playlists. Oh, he made me feel better every time, I tell you.
when all you gotta do is say,
Mm, mm,
you're
mm.
like, whoa,
Right?
oh, man.
Amen.
If that was somebody else, you'd be like, what just happened?
Right. Oh my gosh.
You gotta
Looks
tell
like
them
we
15 times. Break it down, 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 break it
right. Oh gosh, this
down.
is too
Nah,
funny.
yeah, man.
Well,
So, I like the old school. I like the old school,
yeah.
man.
Wow. It looks like a Vinci Shakur. He's another artist. Thanks for joining, King. He says, "What's up, family?" He
What's
said,
going
"What?"
on, man?
He said, "Wow, facts." He said, "Facts. I know what you mean, bro." And how you doing, Black Dynasty NT? I think there's Long Beach Blues. Thanks for joining, everybody.
Yes, yes, yes.
Wow.
Thanks.
We're
Thanks.
just
Shed
having
light.
a
Shed light.
I like this. We went like low and then now we're high. Not, no pun intended.
Right, right,
maybe
right, right,
maybe
right.
that didn't come out right. High in life.
Yeah,
High in
yeah,
life.
yeah. Highlight. Pause. Pause.
Oh
No
gosh.
diddy though.
Right, exactly. So wow. Okay, so by the way, Vinci Shakur is from Jersey as well. So
Okay, what's up,
uh,
Jersey in the house? What's up? What's up,
Jersey in the house. We got
Jersey?
California.
Okay,
We got
Cali, Cali. I represent Cali because Cali be holding me down. Yeah.
mhm,
So
for
what's up,
sure.
Cali? Shouts out to shouts out. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So wow, you pretty much like covered a few questions that I have. But as far as your upbringing, right, and your
Mm-hmm.
artistry, was anyone in your family really involved in the musical essence within the practice in church?
Yes, my mom. She used to travel
Okay.
with Dorothy Norwood and
Uh-huh.
Shirley Caesar back in the day. Barbara Ward Former.
Mm.
Um, she says, oh man, um, and these was back in the old Pentecostal days. I mean,
Wow.
back when I had an opportunity when I was a real shorty, to meet the great, the late great, and shouts out to her, may she rest in peace, Dr. Mattie Moss Clark, that used to come to Trenton, New Jersey, and do workshops.
Mm.
And these are people, man, that will come in, and on
Mm.
Saturdays, you know, you had to get saved first, right?
Mhm.
You had to get saved first, and then by afternoon, if in court, if you got saved, that was
Mhm.
if you got it,
Right.
So if you got saved, then you get on the workshop choir, and then Dr. Mattie Moss Clark and all of them, the or whoever, Dorothy Norwood and all of them, they would come through and teach you how to sing your part, whether you was baritone, tenor, alto, soprano, or what have you. And man, you had to hold your note, hold your part, do your
Mm.
part. Couldn't be chewing gum up in the choir stand. You had to be
Right.
everybody going in the same direction. Couldn't be passing love notes and stuff. They
Mhm.
taught you how to be singing up there. You couldn't be up there trying to be seen and cute at the same time.
Right.
So you had to be a real singer, you know,
Mhm.
and um and then you sing that night. But yes, my mom used to um used to travel around and sing
Okay.
back then. So that's when I started playing musical instruments, because I always
Ah,
wanted to play something, and
right.
I started out playing the bongos, and so I said, man, I don't like the bongos,
Okay.
and so a female drummer by the name of Edna, she taught
Uh-huh.
me how to play the drums. So then I became a drummer, and then I played the drums for a long time, and
Mm.
I started playing on for quartet groups, and
Mhm.
for my mom and them, and then she sang with a group called the Caravans back
Okay.
then, and they did a lot of traveling and recording and stuff, and and then I started, I just self-taught, started playing the guitar,
Wow.
and so I played the guitar for years, in bands and things. hmm
Wow. So do you read sheet music as well?
I did, when I was in school, when I was coming up in school, that was one of
Uh-huh.
the things we had to do. We had to in music school, in
Right.
class, we had to learn how to read music, and so if you're not a gifted reader,
Mhm.
it's one of those things. If you don't use it, you lose it. You
Right.
know. So I didn't use it for a long time, and
Okay.
so it's kind of like Chinese language to me right now. But all of my kids, fortunately, read music
Oh, wow.
and play instruments. So all four of my kids do.
Mhm.
hmm
Wow, that's a blessing for sure.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, right, that you realized that music was your passion at a young age. Um, how did you figure out it was your purpose as well?
Um, I knew when it was the only thing that I would
Mm.
think about and dream about.
Oh, wow.
Um, it would fester up in me. Um, if I go to sleep, that's what I was thinking about. When I get up, that's what I was thinking about. I was everything that I thought about. It was a song, and
Mm.
we used to sit around, my brothers and I. We would throw a title at each other, and I was
Oh.
the writer in the family, but we were all harmonized, and we would throw a title at each other. I don't care if it was about shoestrings, and and I would write a song about shoestrings.
Right.
And so we start harmonizing, and by us being family, our harmony was so tight, and so we'll start blending. So, that's what I love to do. And then a lot of people don't know my cousin was Lucius Lloyd Smith from the Bar
Mm.
Caves. He plays the guitar for the Bar Caves.
Oh,
So,
wow.
I had a lot of family that was also in music, and I didn't find out that Lloyd was my cousin until later on in life, that I found out Lloyd was my cousin. You know,
Oh, wow.
so mhm.
Okay. Looks like more people are joining. Hey, 650 Music,
And what's
Xavier.
up, everybody? Everybody, come on in. How y'all doing? How y'all
Thank you for
doing?
joining.
We thank
Yeah.
you for joining so much. Yes, yes, yes.
So you said you're self-taught, right? In the drums and guitar. What pushed you to learn on your own, and how did these instruments become your creative voice?
Man, I got tired of standing in the back. So I wanted to
That
stand
was
out front.
great.
I wanted to stand out front and get some more attention. So I wanted to play an instrument that I can be out front. Everybody out front was singing like they was more cool. So, I said, man, I don't like these drums. Can't nobody see me back here. So,
Right.
and then they kept telling me break it down. So I was like, man, I ain't gonna keep telling me break it down. So
Mhm.
I wanted to go play the guitar. So I found this guitar in the trash, and I put some rubber bands on it.
Okay.
And and I was singing, and then my next door neighbor, his name was Kool. I never knew his real name, but his name was Kool. And
Okay.
he told me bring it over, and he put some strings on it, strung it up, tuned it up, and he showed me two chords, and
Huh.
he said perfect these two chords, come back next week, and I'll show you two more chords. Well, when I went back that next week, I was playing like a whole song, like in a
Wow.
whole scale. So he was like, oh, okay, okay. Well, let me show you some other chords. So he showed me some other chords, and then when I went back to him, he said, "Oh man, I ain't nothing else I can show you." So
Mm.
I started going around looking at other guitar players that that I kind of liked in Trenton, and so I started mimicking them. And to me, it was only one other guitar player at that time that I thought could probably that I wanted to be like, and
Uh,
that could probably match I said, man, if I can get like him, I can beat everybody. And his name was Larry English.
oh.
So I would like sneak in the bars where they was playing at, and go watch him play. But I never knew it was another guy named Kim Miller playing
Uh,
for Instant Funk at the time. And so me and the bass player, Raymond Earl, his brother, he was the bass player, Alfonso Earl. Me and him was best friends.
mhm.
So he started taking me down to Instant Funk studio, and down there, that's when I started
Wow.
meeting people like Evelyn Champagne King, um, the OJs, um,
Mm.
Gerald Levert,
Okay.
um, being around Bunny Sigler.
Hmm.
Man, so many people from the sounds of Philadelphia. I started
Wow.
meeting down there at the Insta Funk studio. Robert Kool Bell from Kool and the Gang. I started meeting all of them, and so I started picking up Kim Miller chops on the
Okay.
guitar, and so then I became like one of the top guitarists in Trenton. And when all the gospel guitar players from like the Mighty Clouds of Joy, Swanee Quintet, the gospel keynotes, all of them started coming into town,
Yeah.
they already heard about me. They already they already knew about this little young kid with a jerry curl that was
Uh,
putting his guitar behind his head. That had a wah wah pedal, a little crybaby wah wah pedal. And I was like almost making my guitar talk. You know, they was like, "Where this guy at? Where this guy at?" And so you know, that was like my main thing at the time. So I started writing songs and producing songs on the guitar,
wow.
and ironically, that's what I still do to this day. You know, so
I
just about everything
see.
I write it on the guitar. You know,
Yeah. I was like, okay, when I saw your reels on Instagram, I was like, oh, okay. You play my favorite. I love bass guitar for sure.
yes, man. Yeah, so
I
just about
love
everything
it.
I write it on the guitar. You
Wow.
know. Uh-huh.
Uh, Monster Yo is on. He says legendary. Free Monster
Oh
Yo Yo.
man,
Thank you.
thanks, my brother. Thanks.
He said legendary. Yep. He sure is. I got a legendary person in here. For sure. Timeless. Man. So you were mentioning, right, that you were surrounded around legends as like
Yes,
yourself.
yes, yes,
Instant Funk, Robert Kool, Bell, are in your journey, right?
yes.
What's one lesson that you still carry from those experiences? Because wow, it's like a wealth of experiences that you had.
Oh man, you just said it. Right, timeless music. You know, music
Right?
that music that lasts forever. You know, I never. You know, and again, there's nothing to me. There's nothing wrong with trending songs. You know, trending music, and
Yeah.
I can do a boots on the ground song. There's nothing wrong with it. You know, I can do a song that's a TikTok favorite that'll go for now. You know, but for me, that does nothing for me, you
Mm.
know. Especially now with the um, with the social media world,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, and the streaming world. So with the social media world and the streaming world, the streaming, um, you gotta have so many streams to make money, you
I know.
know. And then with the social media world, you could be up here today and then down here tomorrow because
Mhm.
somebody else can come, somebody else can, overnight just like that can
Mhm.
make it big, and then there'll be the next trending thing,
Mhm.
and so you'll be forgotten about. You know what I mean? So um and like I was telling somebody yesterday, I was looking at my guy and I said, I'm really really happy for him. I think God really blessed him to be, to make it as far as he did, to be singing at the ball games, to be singing at the Grammy, at the award shows and things like
Mhm.
that. I'm really, really happy for him. I'm proud of him. I don't even know him, and I'm proud of him. I didn't even know who he was, but when I did some research on him, I said, man, this guy, he had like mad records before that, and I
Mhm.
really liked his voice. I really liked his other songs, but unfortunately, nobody knew his other songs. Nobody
Mm.
never knew nothing about his other songs, And then he comes on, he make a trending song, then boom, he blow up just like that. Because of um, TikTok or social
Mhm.
media. And so that can happen to the next person that comes up with a trending song and then boom, it blows up. But if you write timeless music, that's
Right.
going to be forever. And that was one of the things that made R. Kelly so popular and so
Mhm.
famous, because a R. Kelly song is going to is going to be around
Yes.
forever. Is
Yes.
going. This guy's brain just 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 and his sound is
Yeah.
just reaches beyond what anybody could think of. You know, and so that's where my first record dropped in 1993,
Mhm.
and even that song was ahead of time. So if I put that song on my album now, and just remixed it a little bit. Somebody think I just wrote it just now, you
Mm-hmm.
know, but it was a 1993 song, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah, I still love R. Kelly, regardless of, I mean, everybody has their personal stuff going on, but I
Right.
truly believe that as well. I actually heard him. He was in Germany when I was in high school in Germany. He had a concert, and I went. It was on the army base, and
Mhm.
I heard him singing from afar. I was like, "Oh, so somebody has a concert." They're like, "It's R. Kelly." Back then he was just
Mhm.
new, and so I tried to get to the crowd, but it was so a lot of people, so I was just
Yes.
listening to it from the like football field or some large field,
Yes.
and I
Yes.
was like, "Wow." I mean, he came to perform for the military, for the army
Mhm.
at one point.
Well, it's I tell you, it's just this career is just like anything else. To whom much is given, much is required, and you gotta stay protected because it can happen to any of us. The enemy is going to test you. The enemy, it can happen to me. And I've been a lot of places. I've seen a lot of things that I can't unsee. you know I've been around a lot of stuff that I can't, that I just can't unsee. So I mean, and of course I've been around a lot of legends. I've been around a lot of people, so it makes me to like a lot of young new artists that's coming out. A lot of young people now, to the legends, they like have no respect for them, like the Stephanie Mills, the
Right.
the older singers that's out on tour now, touring, trying to keep their money up, like the Tony Terrys and stuff like that. People don't really respect them, like they do the young artists that's out there now, because to them these are the icons, but they're young artists who now I respect them, definitely, most definitely do, because you gotta give honor to whose honor is due. But they made they hit or whatever. But you talking about people who made decades and decades of hits,
Mm-hmm.
and who have made millions off
Mm-hmm.
of their whole albums.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? And have platinums and things like that. And these was back in the times where you had to really work
Oh
to
yes,
to
yes,
to make
sir.
to make records work, and to work to make an interview work. Now it's so
Mm-hmm.
easy to like talk to people like yourself and stuff like that. Back then, you had to work for that. You go to a radio station and you had to take them people coffee and donuts
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
sandwiches,
Yep.
and still, if they mispronounce your name, you better not correct them on air. You know what I mean? you know, you better leave that alone. Do your
Right.
record be stop playing?
Right.
So if they miscalculate or mispronounce your
Mm-hmm.
name, leave that alone. Just go with the flow. Just be like, yeah, man. So yep. But now people talk to radio stations like they the king and stuff like that. Yo, man, don't be disrespecting me like that, man. Just like, So I don't know. It's just crazy now. You know.
Yeah, it's a different
Yeah.
generation, I'm finding, but it's really interesting because when we were growing up, we had our generation kind of not misfits, but we we each era has their own, right? So
Right, 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 right. Yeah, I tell people, artists don't make hits, radio do. And
right.
unfortunately, it's still that way today. So
Mhm.
and I have people tell me, yo, man, check out my record, man. I got a banger, man. I got a hit. And I say, everybody do. Of course, everybody does. You know, yeah. I'm not trying to be funny. Everybody do. Everybody record a banger. You know what I mean?
Uh,
Yeah. You
I
come out of the
know.
studio with a fresh record, you know, everybody record a banger, you know what I mean? So, you know, and it's like
It's
everybody got album now, you know. Back in the day, if you had a CD back in the day, you was a
right.
star. I mean, heck,
Oh
if you
yeah.
had a
Oh
cell
yeah.
phone back in the day, you was famous. You know, if
Right.
you saw somebody with a cell phone and a chain on,
Uh,
don't let them get out of bins and they got somebody carrying a bag. They was famous, famous. You know,
right.
they got
Exactly.
more than three. They got more than three people with them. Oh, they was a superstar, famous. But like, but like
Right.
now, it's like you don't know who famous or not because everybody wearing chains. Everybody, I mean, the bodyguard got on chains, and it's like the bodyguard got bodyguards, and it's
Oh
like
my
it's
gosh.
you know, it's like everybody jumping out of limos, and
Right.
everybody got demo tape. I mean, you know, if you don't know
Right.
who's everybody's a star, you know. So I don't know. I'm trying to find
That's
another
true.
job.
You are hilarious. Me too.
I I ain't
Oh
even
gosh.
I ain't even
I'm
mad at you, y'all. Look,
I'm getting right here.
Tip start doing comedy. I ain't even mad at her, you know.
Right, exactly. It's so funny because like, Shaquille O'Neal, he's everywhere. Well, just like any star, right? So I'm like, what does he have to do with what's it called? Somewhere Papa John's. Yeah, he's in the boxes of Papa John's.
Hey, you know, it's like
You gotta do what you got.
everybody's like doing everything now. It's like, man, what happened? People don't want to work on a regular job no more. It's like don't nobody
Right,
want to don't nobody want to be a nurse no more. Don't nobody want. It's
right.
like everybody want to be a singer, a rapper. Everybody want, you know. I don't get it, you know. So, but it's
Yeah.
I guess that's the life now. I don't know,
Yeah,
you
it's really interesting the whole
know.
so it's yeah, it's pros and cons, right? You got the pros of the
Yeah,
social media, like,
yeah,
oh, now you
yeah,
can get recognized, now you can get out there, right? Your name.
yeah,
But
yeah.
then the con is like, what is everybody out there?
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. It might sound funny, but it's crazy for everybody that's listening. This is serious. I'm trying to say it with straight face. Everybody, everybody want to be in this, but they want you. They come on your page and they want you to check out they new record, but they don't want to. They don't know nothing about your record,
Mm,
and they telling you, "Yo, man, can you like my new album, or can you shout me out, or can you post my new record up, or can you go check my new video?" But then I ask some people, I'll be like, "Yo, so which one of my songs you like?" They be like, "Oh, you sing, bro?" I be like,
I'm done. I'm
I be like,
done.
I can't. I be
I
like, I
can't.
can't. I can't right now. I can't. I can't. I can't right now. I just can't, man.
Oh my
I can't.
gosh.
I said I
The
can't. I can't
audacity.
right now.
The
I can't.
audacity.
So people want you to, people want you to repost this stuff up and stuff like that,
Wow.
but they don't want to support. They don't support nobody else, and
Hmm.
they want you to come to their shows, but they don't want to support you. You know, so I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's an interesting
I
thing.
had to tell some people sometimes, man, I'm not a promoter, man. I'm not a promoter. If in case you haven't noticed, I'm a singer just like you, man. I
Oh
don't
my
want to promote.
gosh.
I don't want to promote your record today. You
Right.
know, I just got finished listening to it while I was taking a shower. I don't want to promote it too. You know.
Right. Good grief. Yeah, it's I definitely can relate to what you're saying.
Yeah. So
I have and sometimes I just have to turn off this phone or the whole social media and take me a break because that's what I'm still old school too. Like I like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
write. with a pen and paper. I have my pad.
They don't do that no more either. AI do their whole joint. You know,
Right, right,
I,
right.
I had a guy send me a whole track, and
Oh yeah.
the song was just too entirely too perfect. I mean, it was nice. It was
It was
nice.
nice.
But
Right.
it was like kind of country and
Uh-huh.
everything had like a little country vibe to it. And I was listening to it, and when I went in his live, he was like excited that I went in his live. He saw me with blue
Uh-huh.
check and everything. He was like, "Oh man, hold up, who?" He said, "This guy." He said, his name is LaJaye Britt Music." He said, "Well, hold on, I think I got a real live artist in my live." Then he was like, "Hold on, I'm gonna go check his page out." And then he was like, "Hold on, y'all, I got a real live artist in here." And then he was like, "Yo, man." So he asked me, he said, "Yo, man, who are you? What you do?" So I told him and everything. So he said, "Man, you ought to check out some of my stuff." He said, "Send me your stuff." So I sent him me and Tony Terry's song, and he
Uh-huh.
listened to it. And then he said, "Yeah, man, I like this." Then he went on my page and he listened to me and Lenny's song, and he said, "Oh man," he said, "I like this. This is nice." He said, "It got that '90s sound, that old school R&B."
Uh-huh.
He said, "It's nice, man. It's nice." He said, "Yeah." He said, "But you sing gospel." He said, "Man, I ain't never heard of God." He said, "I ain't never been to church in my life and everything.
Mm.
I don't know nothing about God." And then he says, let me play something for you. I said, "All right, play it." And he played the song. And I said, "Yeah, the girl got a nice voice." He said, "Yeah, it's my cousin." I said, "It's a nice song." He said, "Yeah." And I said, who made the track? He said, "Yeah, I did." And I said, "Okay." And I listened to the song again, and the song was just too perfect. I mean, Shania Twain couldn't
Wow.
have sung a better song. Couldn't have sung it better. R. Kelly couldn't have produced a better track. I was
Wow.
like, there's something about this song is off. There's something. And anybody who knows music could have known this song is too perfect. It's like
Right.
too perfect. I said, "No, this AI. This is AI." I said, "This is AI." So, and what made me put it together real good, I said, the dude said, "Yeah, man, can somebody show me how to post this to YouTube?" I said, "So you produced the whole track, but you don't know how to post a video on YouTube?"
Oh my God.
But you're gonna tell me sounds like '90s R&B? I said, "Man, get out of here."
Wow. Wow.
And so,
That is very interesting.
so I had to give him a long speech about how people miss their opportunities. So
Exactly.
I told him, I said, "Yeah, you just missed your opportunity, bro. I
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
popped in your room. You don't know why I was here. So I could have been, could have
Right.
you ever heard of right place, right time?" I said, "Yeah."
Right.
I said, "But you just missed that opportunity, bro."
Mm.
So I said, "Have a nice life," and I I deleted him off my thing, and I stepped out of his
Wow.
live.
Wow.
Yeah.
Looks like we have crowds coming in. OG McDrama 1017 Brick Squad. Thank you for joining,
Man,
sir.
man, what's up to everybody, man? I just appreciate everybody stopping by the live, man. What's up to everybody, man? You know,
Yeah.
once again, for
Wow.
those that don't know, man, my name is LaJaye Britt, all the way from the Carolinas, by way of Jersey,
Right.
though.
Right. Legendary.
Oh,
So,
come on.
speaking about legendaries, right? You mentioned Dr. Mattie Moss Clark, right? It's a rare honor.
Hmm.
What was your experience like, right? And how did it shape your artistry, just being around a legendary like her?
Oh, very memorable,
Mhm.
and those are moments you don't forget. You
Right.
cherish them, and mind you, these, just people like her, this wasn't the only people that had the opportunity to be around. I've been around so many people, who um who you know, that um, I was around before they became icons, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and again, you know, so many people like this, you know, we don't like the name drop and stuff like that, but you
Right.
know, um, man, you know, like people like Daryl Coley, you know, um, those kind of people, man, that used to, you know, um, just be around and just to be in workshops with them back in the days in Trenton, and to be under their tutelage, hearing them. Um, I don't know if you know Pastor Charles Lyles, Bishop Charles Lyles from John Howard and the Caravans, you know, and people like William Poogie Hart from the Delphonics, Ted the Wizard Mills from
Mm.
Blue Magic, um, you know, man, just so many people. Um, and rest in peace, my brother, um, Major Harris.
Mm.
Um, you know that Mr. Love won't let me wait. You know,
Wow.
and I didn't know it then, and these were times
Mm-hmm.
that I took for granted.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I used to literally sit with him every day,
Oh wow.
and you know, for me then back then, I thought it was like a waste of my time, you know, because he used to stay upstairs from my manager's apartment. He was, and my manager used to tell me, you know, yeah, keep Major company, and
Mm.
and you know, I used to walk to the store with him every day, and go sit upstairs with him, and he used to talk to me about, you know, it's kind of, I call them old war stories, but he used to talk to me about when he was over in Japan, over in London, over in Singapore, and all these, you know, stories about being on tour and backstage and the after parties, and he just be going on and on and on, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to hear that. You know, I wanted to go, you know, hang out on the streets of Philly, you know, and
Uh,
um, and man, you know, little do I know, you know, the privilege and the honor it
mm-hmm.
was just to sit with that guy, you know, and when I got the call that he had passed away, it really broke my heart. It really broke my heart, you know. So I have a picture sitting right there on my table right there with my wife and Bishop Hezekiah Walker. You know, I remember Hezekiah Walker when he was a choir director. He wasn't even famous, you know. So before anybody knew who he was, you know, back when he was directing a choir, you
Right.
know. So we used to hang out with that cat, you know. So it's just so many. Like I said, um, people that was I got to know people before they became the icons that they are
Mm-hmm.
now, and um, so I don't take music for granted, or I don't take legendary artists for granted. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so that's what it means to me. You know, and so you know the people that I work with, you
Mm-hmm.
know, like the Lenny Williams, the Tony Terrys, the Glenn
Yeah.
Joneses, and things like that. I don't take them people for granted at all, you know, because all of them have contribute something to my, you know, to my gift,
Mm-hmm.
and help make me, you know, who I am today. You know, you know, being on stage with them, have an opportunity to act with them, you know, in
Mm-hmm.
plays and things like that. I've learned so much from them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been an honor.
Wow. Wow. So your debut single, right? Put my thing down, dropped in 1994. What was the moment like for you? I mean, wow. And how did how did it change your whole trajectory for your music career?
even though it wasn't my date, I was already a recording artist. I
Right.
recorded numerous of records before that. But that was my debut solo um,
Uh,
single. But yeah, that was, and it really, really took a really, really turn for me, and when it picked up kind of fast um, when we made it on Power 99 Philly.
okay.
Um, they put it on Make It or Break It, you know.
Okay.
And so, man, when they put it on Power 99, Make It or Break It, if you get on there, that was like being on Showtime at the Apollo.
Uh,
If you don't make it on Showtime Apollo, your career is pretty much done. But um, I got on Power 99, Make It or Break It, 5 o'clock rush hour,
mhm.
and after the song played, all the votes came in, and we made it. They made it, and it was a good feeling, because then all the clubs around Philly start calling me,
Uh-huh.
clubs in Newark, clubs in New York start
Wow.
calling me, booking me. Then I start going on tour with people like Jagged Edge, people like
Mhm.
Destiny Child, Nivea,
Mhm.
um, oh man, RL, Mr. Cheeks, uh,
Mhm.
man, so many people, man. I was out on the road with. Then I was going out by myself, doing, I was holding it down by myself, you know. So, it was a good feeling. And then
Uh-huh.
then then the record started getting cold a little bit, because back then, if you didn't have a follow
Right.
up, you know,
Right. Right.
you didn't have a follow up. I mean, real quick, like too.
Yeah.
So back then it was rough. If you ain't had to follow up real quick. So, I was going through something. So I had a lot of competition. I had the Whitehead brothers that was on my heels. Joe came out,
Oh
you
yeah,
know.
Joe. I
Yeah,
remember Joe.
Joe came out and stole my dances from me.
Oh
So,
man.
well, no, I'm lying. Hold on, I'm lying on radio. Yeah, the Whitehead brothers my
Oh,
dances,
okay.
and then the Joe stole them from the Whitehead brothers. So yeah,
Wow.
so if everybody remember the Whitehead brothers, they said that song, "Your Love Is a 187," and there was John Whitehead's sons from the McFadden and Whitehead.
Uh-huh.
So, but they literally came to my show one night in Philly, and
Oh.
scouted my dances, and took them. But they was on tour. They single just came out. They went on tour. I wasn't on tour, and
Oh.
so the girls had to go where the money was. So, but I rebound. I
Right,
ended up
right.
on tour.
Right,
I ended,
right.
I ended up on tour. So you know,
Wow.
but yeah.
Definitely.
So Put My Thing Down was making a lot of headlines.
Okay.
Um, I was a little small philanthropist. I was giving back to the community. I got the
Okay.
keys
That's
to
nice.
a couple of cities, um, some mayor's awards, some of proclamations. So
Nice.
Put My Thing Down had earned me some recognition, and
Right.
some headlines. So yeah.
Mhm.
So then I did my follow up years later in the R&B scene with Slow and Easy.
Mm,
So yeah.
wow. So how is it performing on stages like the Apollo, right? Opening up for Boys to Men, Jagged Edge, and others. What's like the most unforgettable moment on stage?
Um um out with Destiny Child
Okay.
and Boys to Men. Um um Doing some shows with Mr. Cheeks, um RL, the boys when they were young.
Uh-huh.
So believe it or not, those were some of the unforgettable moments. I don't know if you remember the little young group Imagine, you know.
Oh yeah.
So being out with them, was really really powerful. Um, um, was what was her real name? The girl Gina from Martin. What was her real
Oh
name?
yeah.
Um,
Takesha. Wait.
uh,
Sorry. Don't
so
get me the lion.
so doing a lot of
Oh,
shows with
Tisha
her.
Campbell.
Yeah,
Campbell.
Tisha Campbell. Yeah, so
Yeah.
doing a lot of shows with her. So
Nice.
I had some pretty good. And then I was doing spot dates up in New York, like at Sweetwater's,
Oh.
um, Justin's when Justin's first opened, P
Wow.
Diddy's club when he first opened it,
Hmm.
his supper club up there. You know, performing up there, getting in places like that.
Right.
Um, some other little night spots up in New York. So doing shows up there with people like Sherilyn, God bless her,
Uh-huh.
she's going on. So Sherilyn, you know, a lot of them older, singers like that. So I had the opportunity to open for a lot of people like that. The most funniest time I think I had was I did a show at Rick Mahorn's in
Oh.
Newark, not in Newark, in Cherry Hill, New Jersey,
Oh.
and
Okay.
and I was opening for Sissy Houston,
Oh
and
wow.
um, and it was literally three people in the club, you know, and
Wow.
I don't know, is she still living? Is she still living? Is she gone on? I don't know, but God bless her with it, whatever way it is. But anyway, I think that was the most funniest moment in my career, right? But um, she was like it was like three people there. And she came in, she rolled in, she had her little
Uh-huh.
outfit on and stuff, and she did the show like it was like 30,000 people up in there,
Wow. Wow.
and I refused to perform, because it was like literally nobody in the club, and I think those three people came with her, you know. I don't know. And I was supposed to open for her, you know.
Oh
But
wow.
when I came there, when I got there, and I had another show in Philly,
Uh-huh.
like about 1 o'clock that night. So
Oh.
when I got over there, like she wanted to perform because she didn't want to stay out late. So she wanted to perform like around 10. But Rick
Right.
Mahorns didn't really start jumping till after 12. So so she was like ranting and raving because she wanted to perform like about 10.
Uh-huh.
So she went on and she started
Uh,
they said, well, the open act is not here. So I got there and I said, I'm not performing. I'm not opening. There's like literally nobody here. So I wouldn't go on. And she got up there and she sung. She was doing her
uh-huh.
little thing. She was doing her thing, man. She was doing and
Wow.
and I left. She didn't want to take a picture with me either, you know. So I wanted to get a picture with her because that was like Sissy Houston, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I
You
wanted,
know,
yeah, that was an icon. I wanted to get a picture with her, but
I
I,
think it was the location, maybe. I don't know, Terry. But but the thing about it is, see, this goes to show people, right? All the artists listening that Sissy Houston, hello, she was
that was
performing
funny.
to three people. I mean, hey, you got to start somewhere,
Hey, she did her thing though. She
right?
sung like 6, 7 songs. She
Right.
did her thing. She was kicking and everything. She was just spinning around, and
Wow.
I was like, yo, she did her thing, and I was like,
Uh,
man, I'm out of here. you know. And I wanted to get a picture with her. She didn't want to take a picture with me. You know, her people said no. You know, but and still, I thought people was gonna come in like later after she was like into like a
Uh-huh.
fourth song or something. Nobody still came in. You know,
Wow. They
so
needed
she
a promoter. They needed the social media people like from today,
no.
like them. You know what I'm
Rick
saying?
Mahorn, you know, Rick Mahorn was like the football player. You know, he was known. His club was known was a hot club. His club was hot.
Oh.
You know, but I don't know. You know, it was like a young people club though. It
Oh,
was like a
okay,
club for
okay.
like young. It was like they had like them young heads up in there. You
Was it
know,
on a weekday or was it
it was
on a
a
weekend?
it was a Friday night. You know, and she wasn't having it. She was
Wow.
like, I'm not staying out at 1 o'clock. She was like, no, I need to
Oh,
sing
okay.
now. She wanted to sing and go home. She was trying to get out of there. You know, so I guess she had to go. She had to go, man. So
Well, that's interesting. Well,
I think even 10 o'clock was too late for her. She had to get out of there. So they went on and put her up, and they said, well, the opening act he's not singing. So I was like, nah, I don't want to check the mic or nothing. I'm not singing. You know, I had a hot record too, man. Put my thing down was hot. You know,
uh-huh.
I was like, man, I'm not getting up there singing. You know, y'all crazy. So, you know, nah, I ain't do that.
Wow,
You
that's a tough crowd over there. uh,
know.
so you had major success, right, in theater as well, with
Yes,
plays
yes.
like A Good Man is Hard to Find and Love Under New Management. How does theater feed a different side of your creativity?
Oh man, it's rough. You know, it was fun.
Uh-huh.
It was fun, but rough. You know, and I think
Oh,
anybody that does theater would say the same thing. You know, it gets old after a while. You know, when you're doing the same show night after night. I mean, the
mm,
fun part is once the show gets started,
right, right.
and you know you're interacting with the audience, a different audience, different city every night. But you know, it's the same thing with every actor, you know, or actress. You know, the wardrobe changes, the same songs every night.
Mhm.
They're performing the same scene, same routine every night. You know, it kind of to us it gets old, you know. But I mean, I loved it though. You know, being in a different place every night. You never
Uh-huh.
know where you are. You know, because we was touring so much. We never
Right.
knew where we were. I never knew what city we was in. Um, you know, we had fun. We had a lot of fun. Um, you know, it's always something different happens on the stage every night. You know,
Uh-huh.
calling out the wrong city. You know, because we try to tie in whatever city
Right.
we into our act. You know,
Uh-huh.
and so you know that happens. So you know, but and in fact, that's why you know that's how I met Mr. Williams Lenny. You know, we was in a
Okay.
good man's we was in a good man's hard to find together, and
Okay.
we was in the play together for about um, maybe like 3 or 4 months, and he
Uh-huh.
never said anything to me. I mean, he never said nothing to me at all. And then one day we was in the same scene together, and how he ended up in, you know, why he was in that scene, I don't know. He didn't
Uh-huh.
belong in that scene. But I was sitting in the salon chair, and he was sitting next to me, and
Uh-huh.
I was the leading man, so I was the lead character, and I was supposed to be a greasy mechanic, you know, but I was iced out. You know, had on brand new Timbs, new do rag, and everything.
Right. Right.
So, but I'm a greasy mechanic, right? so, so I guess he was really trying to make a point, you know. So he was sitting next to me in the barbershop, and I had my rings and stuff on, and he says to me, he says, yeah, what's up there, brother? He said, what you got on there, cubic zirconias? And that was the first time he ever spoke to me in my
Wow.
life. You know, I said, no, this man didn't just call my stuff cubic zirconias, right? And everybody in the audience laughed. And so I said, oh
Ah,
man. I got to come back. I got to think of a comeback line. And so I said, I looked at him and I said, I can't remember exactly what I said, but I said something
Uh,
funny to him that the audience laughed even harder, right? And so he said, "Nah, I'm just playing with you, youngster. I don't want you to pull out one of them things, man." So I said, I sit back in my chair. I was really mad, right? Because I took offense to it, right?
yeah, right.
And so he gets up out of his chair, and then he started talking to the audience, and then he was like, "Yeah, you gotta be careful with these youngsters nowadays." He said, "But and he started leading up to his song, and then he said, "But I want to just tell you, ladies, why I love you." Then the band said, "Dun dun 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 dun." And he said, "Girl, he went into his song, you know.
Oh my
So
God.
he came he came up to me after the show. He came up to me after the show and he was like, "Yeah, man, I was just teasing you on the set, man." He said, "But let me ask you a question." He said, "You a greasy mechanic, right?" I said, "Yes." I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Will Clarence Jones wear iced out watches?" I
Uh,
said, "Nah." He said, "Will Clarence Jones wear new Timberlands?" I said, "Nah." He said, "If you make your wardrobe match your character," he said, "Man, you're really killer." He said,
mm,
"All the stars come to the wings of the stage to see what you're doing to get a standing ovation." So
mm,
when I perfect my wardrobe,
mhm.
then I had it then. Because
Right.
I went to the Salvation Army, found me an
Mhm.
old beat up lunchbox. I went and found me some overalls, got me some old work boots, put grease on them. Man, you couldn't tell me nothing then. In every city I went in, I made sure I got a newspaper from that city, and
Mm,
I would read the headlines, and
mhm.
I would make that a part of my scene,
Mm.
you know. So yeah,
Wow. That
so
was
he
a
taught
really
me
good lesson.
so. Yeah, he
Yeah,
taught
that
me
was a
so.
very, very good lesson
Hmm.
there.
Yeah,
Wow, that's amazing. Because that was the question I was going to ask you next about him. And then also Tony Terry. Shout out to Tony Terry for
yes.
sure.
All of them been to acting school. Tony has, I
Right.
think, 2 Emmy awards. So just having the privilege to learn from them. And it was like a difference when I went in the studio with Lenny. When I got ready to fly out to Cali, I was so nervous and so scared. My wife, she was like, "What you scared for? All these stars you sung with before, it's just like
Yeah.
singing with another star. You ain't gotta be scared to go sing with Lenny, woo, 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 So I was like, "Yeah, you right, And he was so easy to work with.
Wow.
He was like, "I'm here to do what you want me to do. What you got? What you want? And it was so well. He was so well to work with, and
Yeah.
I produced the whole record. Tony's a little bit different. When you go in the studio with him, and I get it. I don't mind. Tony, you got to sing. Tony's producing the whole session. You know,
Right.
you going you gonna sing what Tony tell you to sing. You know, and if you can't sing, Tony gonna let you know. Don't quit your day job. You know, so and I ain't talking about singing like a little bit. You got to be a singer and sing with Tony. Because Tony gonna let you know. No, let's go. You this not for you. You know, so you gotta be a singer to sing with Tony.
Mm,
Hmm.
for sure. For sure. Yeah, he had that demeanor.
he
He's a pretty nice guy. Nice guy.
he
I told
can
you, I might have met Ghost Jim.
Tony the
All
type
these
of
happy
person.
photos.
Tony type of person is like, you know, yeah, let's do another one.
Uh-huh.
Let's do another one. Let's do another one. He'll keep doing another one to next week, you know. And Tony just loved to sing, you
Hmm.
know. Yeah, when the show is over, he'll keep singing. Like they cut the lights off and everything, stage lights, everything. You got to literally drag him and Tony and keep singing. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tony loves to sing. He loves to sing. That's his passion. He's a singer. Hmm.
For sure, for sure. Well,
Yes,
speaking
Lord.
of Tony, let's go ahead because you have the new song. We're going to go ahead and present it now. Everybody, check this out. It's called No Greater Love Release.
Yes, let's
We
get it.
should do this one right here.
No greater love can a man have than this, and he did all for you. Was betrayed for a kiss. Oh, no greater love could a man have than this, and he did all for you. Was betrayed for a kiss. Let me be honest with you. You gotta stop lying to yourself. We all need a little love and nothing less. Whenever I look at you, I can see myself. We no
Run it back.
greater love can a man have than this, and he did all for you. Was betrayed for a kiss. Oh, no greater love could a man have than this, and he did all for you. Was betrayed for a kiss. Let me be honest with you. You gotta stop lying to yourself. You need a little love and nothing less. Whenever I look at you, I can see myself.
Wow. Amazing. Let's go ahead.
Yes, yes.
I love it. I love it. We're going to play some other stuff from you. I Won't Shut Up by Dr. LaJaye Britt.
Let's go. Woo! I think it's time I step to them. Yeah, they might not like me on this one right here. Oh, hey, 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 yeah. Oh. Listen, let me ease up to this microphone and tell these people what is going on. Some of the leaders, they done lost their mind. Church workers, they done lost their grind. I'm not trying to be judgmental. I just want to keep it real, no. Stop acting like you're real slow. They say they got the Holy Ghost. Now how am I if you hear me? Throw them up if you feel me. But you gotta make up your mind. Read your word and stop wasting time. won't silence me, no. I want somebody to make some noise for me. Rest of me, hey, I won't share rest of me. You better worry about those. Be quiet. I can't be quiet. Said I'm gonna be quiet. You won't get the rest of me. Say they killed all I am, but I'm the best of me. I'm gonna say the when to speak up and stand strong, yeah. Do I got anybody with me? Gonna stand up and stand. Speak out for your leaders.
The presidency doesn't change who you are, it reveals who you are.
I'm gonna stand on the mountaintop and scream out. Yeah. Yes, I will. You won't make me be quiet. No, I can't be quiet. No, no.
Oh, I was on mute. That was like amazing. I love it. I love it. Wow. Okay. I believe there is I'm gonna be honest with you. I went through a lot of your songs on Apple Music. I think it's the Change Me one that got me.
Oh,
I think that's the one that I was like, I kept putting that one on repeat for some reason. And of course A Better Man. But where is that one? Let me see.
yeah, better man is really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Better Man is going to be on the Closure project.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and play this one, Better Man.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Man of Christ and I ain't scared to show it. I was lost, now I'm found, and he fully clothed me. Sometimes you lose your way, sometimes you lose your face, sometimes we forget our sense of faith. Used to be down with the devil, feeling the same, losing my way, and now I'm riding with Christ. Call me your holy renegade. Finally found the Holy Spirit, feeling like he took me years to fill me up with it, but I thank God that he did it. Churches, you see me in them ties, I'm always giving verses, I'm always reading, just a sheep in his flock, just a piece of his cloth. Remnant the price, I'll never give in, and that's all. I said I never give in, and that's all. I said I never give in, and that's all.
You made me a better man, the way that you love me. You made me a better man, the way that you love me. You made me a better man, the way that you love me. You made me a better man, the way that you love me. You made me a better man, the way that you love me. You made me a better man, the way that you you love me. You made me a better man. The way that you love me, you made me a better man.
Oh,
Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah,
Amazing. I love it. I love it. Oh my
that
gosh.
song was actually licensed for a movie, so we're waiting for that to come out.
To come
So,
out.
yeah,
Okay.
so I'm waiting for that to go through and be released out. So,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Okay. Um, is there another song I'm trying to think of? I know that one that changed me. What was it called again? Let's see, No Greater Love. Definitely everybody go check out No Greater Love. And
And my whole entire EP release was turning around
okay.
is just, I mean, it's an awesome EP. I mean, we
Right.
you know uh, it was, the Sony EP was actually rushed out. You know, I ended up on Sony
Right.
at the last minute. So, it was a lot of more work I would have did to that AP, you
Mm,
know. But there was another major artist that I won't call her name that had fell had dropped out, and so um, that was on a Thursday, and New Music Friday was coming up. So I got a call like at 3 a.m. in the morning that
mhm.
they needed to put an artist in that place, and so I ended up on Sony's roster,
Wow.
and so that EP ended up on Sony's roster,
Mm,
and to me it wasn't fully ready,
right.
but most of those songs I want to go back in the studio and remix them and
Okay.
reissue them, back out again, but
Right.
some of them, I'm done with them. I won't retouch them, but yeah, so. But
Okay.
believe it or not, I can't believe like some of them is still charting. Like "Sorry" is still
Oh yeah.
charting on some is still some BDS charts,
Oh wow.
um,
See.
and um, "Stand Up"
Mm.
is
Yeah,
still
stand up. Yes.
it's
I love
still
stand up.
it's still on BDS charts. I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
you know how old that song is, man.
I love that song. I was listening to that on
Yeah,
Apple, like I was saying earlier.
yeah. It's like, oh man,
Yeah.
you know how old that song is, and it's still BDS charting.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, wow, it's so
I
crazy.
believe it.
So um, and and what's so amazing, like most of those songs don't even have official videos,
Mhm.
and they they've been able um to outlast a lot of projects, that's been
Mhm.
put out,
Mhm.
so um
Yeah.
and this time with my project Closure, you
Mhm.
know um it is, I've already announced it to the world, that it is my final studio CD. Um,
Oh wow.
and so the Lord, has directed me to go back to my 90s roots
Yeah.
and back to all the artists that, that instilled in me and just pour out my very best. And
Mm.
so that's kind of what I'm giving on Closure,
Yeah.
because the truth be told, I even though my music has been to me good and holding up, charting, it's been doing well for me. I mean, I've been on, I went on the road between my music and ministry.
Mm.
Um, you know, all my kids are grown, got careers, you know. I don't really have to do music anymore if I don't, if I choose not to, you know.
Mm,
And so, my career has been good to me. It's been blessed career. I've had a blessed career, I thank God for that. But God told us to call this project closure
mm,
to gain now what I feel like that I have given up,
mm,
for the sake of, raising a family
mhm,
and putting in, because being a parent, being a
mhm,
husband, being all those things, being a pastor,
mhm.
being a spiritual leader, a spiritual father. We give up so many things, and
Yeah.
we're pulled in so many different directions. People don't realize you give up so much of yourself. So
Mhm,
it's almost totally impossible to really, really focus on your dream or what you
mm,
really want to do. And
right.
so I never wanted my kids or my wife or anybody to feel like, they robbed me of
Mhm,
doing what I really wanted to do, which they know, they never, hey, even though, we may have had some struggle times in
mhm,
our life or what have you, but they know, man, we never been outdoors, we never seen bad times or whatever. Dad, mom done their best to give us the best.
mhm.
Dad always was, they always known their dad to be on stage or with a mic in his hand somewhere. And so now that they're grown, have careers, they don't have jobs, they have careers. And my son's in college. Um, Now I can focus on the music and
Mm,
give them closure, give the world closure.
mhm,
And when I give them this project, it's going to be my whole heart, soul, everything,
mm,
So I'm taking it back to the roots,
mm,
and that's going to be the long lasting project
mhm,
that's going to leave an indelible mark for my kids
mm.
too, that say that even for them later to say, man, that was my dad. That's my
Yeah.
dad right there. This is the legacy that he left. This is his fingerprint right here.
Mm,
So that's what I'm
yeah.
giving them. You know,
Wow. So are you going to do a world tour?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm talking to my publicist about it,
Okay.
and we're trying to see, what we which direction which you want what we're gonna do,
Right.
but um, I do know that we're gonna give them the best record that we can give them. Now
Okay.
whether or not I choose to go out on the road or not, you know,
Right.
they're gonna have the best. They're gonna have the hottest record that I gave them. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So yes,
I can't wait to hear more about it.
yes. It's
Yeah,
gonna
which
it's gonna be it's gonna be and the funny thing, I was gonna do some of the songs. Like I was finishing up a song the other day, and I called out a name to some family members. I said, I heard a feature for this right here, and they said, nah. It's a no, no, do the darn thing yourself. Do it yourself. Do it yourself. Kill it yourself. And I said, I
mm,
don't care. I don't care what you hear. You're always calling in somebody else. You're always doing something. Do
mm,
it yourself. The song is hot. Do it
yeah,
yourself. Do it yourself. So, you know, so
right.
I'm gonna do it
There
myself.
you go.
So most of the project, I think I got a couple songs I got features on, but most of the project is gonna be all me. So
Yes.
it's gonna be all me.
I think
So
it's well deserved.
I'm going back to like the R. Kelly days, where he
Yes.
do the whole thing himself.
Yes.
So
Did a
I'm
whole
going
album.
out. Yeah, I'm
For
going out
real.
hard.
Yes,
I'm going out
yes.
hard. I'm going out hard.
For
They
sure.
can't do nothing but love it. You know what I
I,
mean? So they
yeah.
might hate on it at first, but after a while they're gonna start. Yeah, oh man, that go hard right there.
I mean, let me
Yeah,
tell you, like the sauce that he had, the whole entire album, you couldn't look. It was on replay, like it was on loop, 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 loop. I had that thing on
yeah,
loop.
yeah. So it'd be like that, songs that are artists that you just don't like them, but the song be like, man, that song is speaking to me, man. So yeah, yes.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
we just gonna go in. We just gonna go in.
Okay.
You know. Yes. Yeah. So
Wow.
I'm
That,
excited. I'm excited
yeah, I'm
about it.
excited
You
for
know.
you.
I'm extremely excited. Can't
Yeah.
wait to get back in the studio. And a lot of people they don't know. I've had some bumps in the road. You know, went through some bad experiences with some last surgeries that didn't go well. I had rotator cuff, total
Oh,
shoulder done, and being that it was my second shoulder on the same side,
jeez.
um, it's just it didn't heal well, and my when they actually cut in there, they went in with the camera first and saw that everything in my arm was totally destroyed. Bicep muscle was tore up. My rotator cuff was destroyed. Supraspinatus muscle, cartilage was torn, and it was just totally destroyed in there. So they had to totally cut it open, have
Mm,
blood on hand in case I, lost a lot of blood. So when they got done with the surgery, they actually took me out of physical therapy because they was afraid it was going to get re-injured in
oh
physical
wow.
therapy. So they just wanted me to kind of work it out at home and get range of motion at home. So
Oh,
I kind of been, you know, working it at home, just trying to get range of motion on it at home. And then
right.
still, I had a knee replacement that just never never really healed up. So they've been wanting to take that back out and put a new knee in again.
Oh wow.
So, you know, it's just been kind of rough for me. So it's been, I think it was like all the years of me flying off of stuff. So it's
Oh,
like, I've been flying off of stages, flying off of speakers, flying off of everything. And everybody was like, there he goes again. I jump on stuff and fly off, and people got to catch me. So, um, yeah. So it's been kind of rough, you
wow.
know. But
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm sure that you're getting all these like different surgeons like opinions. So
yes,
that's
yes,
great.
and they're but it's coming along. It's coming along, and
Yeah.
that in the time that I had, you know,
Yeah.
to recuperate, I've been doing, like I said, I've been doing a lot of writing, a lot of self searching and
Yeah.
reevaluating and things like that. And then you get to find out who your friends really was,
Mm,
the people that you thought was there for you.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, you know. So, but it's been a long rough journey. But
Mm,
I have good support system, good family. Um, One thing we raised our family was to be very close knit. So the family, the girls, even though they all serve in the country,
mm,
they all been very supportive and very close knit. The baby girl, she's always been worried, always calling, asking her
wow.
brother, "How's dad doing?" Checking on dad. She'll
Yes.
call and like, "Dad, how you doing? How's your album coming along? How's the writing? How's the music?
Yeah.
How's your arm? How's your leg? So you know,
Aw.
but we're
For
yeah.
sure. Definitely. I think also Healing, right, comes with all the mental and the meditative, because our brain,
There
it's
you
always
go.
on overdrive. We need to
There you
come
go.
back and just, meditate and the gratefulness and give thanks and prayer, right?
There you
And so
go. There you go.
that's the true healing. God.
There you go. There you go. I always say, the young man that sing that song, millions didn't make it, but I was one of the ones who did. I sing that every day. I don't think it's a day go
Yes,
by that
that's
I don't
right.
sing those words. Oh, millions didn't make it.
Yes.
I gotta
Ooh,
sing that every day. Oh, I was one of the ones who did. I gotta sing that every day,
that's right.
because, so that means a lot to me, Yes,
Yeah, being able bodied, mind and soul and spirit for sure. Because like at the end
yes,
of the
yes,
day, gotta thank God for the breath of life each day we.
yes, 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 yes. I'll tell you, all of us go through something. I want to tell all the listeners that you may go through something. I don't care what you may be facing, and
Yeah.
it may seem like your dreams, your aspirations, or what you're reaching for, your goals or whatever. It may seem like that you're not gonna get it, but keep pushing, because if you stop long enough to look back, you will
Mm,
see that where you was yesterday, you're not there. And
right.
where you are right now, you can just stop and see for a moment how I get here, man, how I'm still standing, you know,
Hmm.
how I made it through that storm that I
Oh yeah.
was in, how I didn't die in the situation that I was
Hmm.
in. When I was a crackhead, when I was on drugs, when I was put out, when I was
Hmm.
homeless,
Hmm.
when I was left all alone,
Yeah.
so, that's when you could say millions didn't make it, but I was one of the ones who did.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
For
man.
sure. For sure. And you answered my question, because I was going to ask, how do you stay inspired, right, in your creativity and being spiritually grounded in like everyday life, because this is such a fast pace a life that we live.
Oh, man. Reading, praying, meditating every day. This is what I do every day, and um, I get up, praying, meditating, thinking about it, and I spend a lot of um, uh, just quiet time.
Mm,
And one thing that I thank God for, and this is um, one thing about being boastful or anything like that. That's why I don't post photos of world of possessions of things that I
mm,
have. And so nobody can ever say that they seen photos of my home or they seen photos of my cars and things like that. I don't post those things. So nobody knows what I drive. Nobody knows what my home look like or anything like that. But you know, I've been blessed to have a very nice home, on very nice property. You know, and so when I get up, I could have a nice place to go and sit outside, or to sit in the front or the back, or sit out in the yard and just think and focus, and just relax and be peaceful, or what have you, or take a walk and go to the lake, or whatever. I mean, and in the evening time to go to the lake and see beautiful sunsets, and just focus on God and meditate or write songs or whatever. And so that's how I stay grounded. And
Mm,
and so, it's just peaceful to
mm,
have those little things in life and not have to worry, you know.
mm,
And
right.
so that's how I stay grounded every day. And every day I don't take nothing for granted, because even where we are and what we have, it can all be gone in a twinkling of an eye. One
Mhm,
storm can wipe this all away. So
mhm,
every time we have a hurricane or a tornado, I'm always praying, not just for my
yeah,
house, but I pray for the whole neighborhood. I pray for the whole town, the whole community. Lord, let the storm pass. Lord,
yes.
let the thieves and the robbers pass us on by. And then when I read and see what happened to other people, I'm praying that they recover all,
Mhm,
you know. So that's what keeps me grounded every day,
mhm,
you know.
Amen. That's for sure. So, looking at your journey, right, with music, theater, and ministry, what do you hope your legacy will be when they hear the name Dr. LaJaye Britt?
Just like when you see all this stuff on the wall back here, and we just don't have room to put stuff up anymore. I want to get somebody to come in and professionally do our wall where we can put record plaques and stuff up the way it's
Mhm,
supposed to be. But I want my legacy to be, he was he was known for giving messages of hope,
mm,
giving he spoke. I remember hearing a
mm,
song that you know that ministered to me, that gave me a feeling today, that made me feel like I can go a little bit further
mhm.
today, or that made me smile today,
Right.
or something like that. So I want my legacy to be that of, he was more than just an artist. He
Mm,
was more than just a legendary singer, or he was just a a star or something like
right.
that. I wanted to be that he meant something
Yeah.
to this world, and I don't want it to have to be, somebody had to give me a trophy or something to make that mean something to somebody. I want my music to make that difference to somebody, because even if only one person
Right.
remembers that, that's all. That's good enough for me.
Mhm,
So that's what I want my legacy to be. So when somebody's in a conversation and somebody said, "Man, you know that guy, Dr. LaJaye Britt," and they say, "Oh man, I remember him. I got his EP, or I got his album, or I got his single. Yeah, I know that song. You know, man,
yeah.
that guy, man, he really touched my man.
Mhm,
Yeah. So that's what I want my legacy to be. I
yeah.
don't want it to be, remembered because they remembered I got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, or they remember me because um, I was a superstar that got busted for drugs, or
Right, right,
you know, I
right.
so I don't want that. I
Mhm.
want it to be remembered because my song touched you.
Yes.
And like I said, if it's one person or 100 people, 1,000
Mhm,
people, or 1 million people, that's
mhm.
okay with me.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
um, like you said earlier, it's everything is not about paper, monetary things. Because
Right.
if you're doing God's will, He will
Mhm,
supply you every need. you know. And because I do His will, I don't have to worry about. I don't worry
mm,
about anything. And so, you know, um, what does it for me is when you can ask your wife, what do she want for Mother's Day? And she says, "Oh, I don't need anything.
mm.
You know, don't buy me another purse. Don't buy me another pair of shoes. Don't buy me no more clothes. Don't buy me no more jewelry. You know, I don't want to
Mhm.
go nowhere. I just want to chill at home.
Right.
Don't buy me nothing that I know I'm not gonna wear.
Mhm.
Don't do nothing. I gotta have everything I want.
Mhm.
You know,
Wow. Yeah.
and you know she mean it because when her kids say, "Mom, what do you want?" Oh, I don't need anything. You know,
Right.
just give me the money then. Just give me the money. I just um, and she not gonna do nothing with the money, but 'cause my wife loves to go to the store and she'll go to Walmart. A
Right.
woman that can have anything she wants, she go to Walmart,
Mhm.
or Ross or to to stores to buy stuff for the house or
Yeah.
or something, so what more can you ask for, you
Right.
know?
Well,
So
shout
I
out
love
to
it.
the missus. Shout out to the missus as well.
Yes, yes, thank you.
It looks like a celebrity interviewer. I said it. Thank you. He says, "A blessing multiplied to you both." Thank you so much
Oh
for being
man, thank you,
appreciated.
thank you, thank you, thank you. Back to
Wow.
you, back to you.
Wow, this
Yeah.
has been a wonderful just chatting with you.
Oh, it's
You know,
been more than chat. It's been a wonderful, wonderful interview. A wonderful. It's been more than a show. It's been more. We had a wonderful time, man. I had
yes.
a blast. I had a blast. We laughed. We chopped it up. I had never. I'm gonna tell you something. I don't feel no waste time about getting dressed up for this, about throwing some clothes on for this, man. I feel good about it. I felt like I went out to a party. And, I wish we had more people on the screen. We could have had a party. We were ready to party. So
Right.
I had a wonderful time. I thank you for your platform, and I enjoy your platform. I enjoy what you're doing for artists. Um, I enjoy what you're the opportunity that you're giving people. A lot of people don't give artists an opportunity and a
Mm,
chance. So I thank you for giving artists a time and an opportunity to shine.
mm,
And I just wish and hope that artists hear these words and and don't take opportunities like this lightly, because it's opportunities like this that will open other doors for them. That will open other doors for them. So, um, you know, um, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this. You know, just before my interview with you, I had a very well-known radio station who was hitting me up, which is Hot 97 in New York. Everybody know that station. So
yes.
Hot 97 was hitting me up, asking me, "Yo, where did you send the music? Where did you send it? Where address is it coming from? I need to get it. I need to get it. And I'm like, yo, boom, it's coming from this address, but I got to go get through this show right now. Like, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, you know, but I don't take one show bigger than another show or whatever. That's Hot 97. You know what I'm saying? But and I was telling my wife earlier, I said, yo, guess what? Your boy getting ready to have an opportunity to be on Hot 97. But you know, to me, this this right out, every opportunity is just as big as another one. So, I don't take no opportunities bigger or lighter than the other one. They gotta remember, I've been doing what I've been doing for 40 years plus. So
Mm,
to to me, everything is like a make it or break it. So
right.
and then again, they have to also know I'm not chasing a dream. I already have the dream. So yeah.
That part. That part right there.
I don't mean no harm, though. I don't want nobody to get mad at me. I promise I don't want nobody to get mad at me. but I already have the dream. So, I have the dream. I'm good. You know what I mean? I may not have, $30 million mansion or $10 million mansion or or no ghost phantoms and all of that. But, who needs that? I'm not ready to live in no, I'm not ready to live in that. You know what I mean?
It's scary.
I'm not ready to live
It's
in
a haunted house,
that.
though.
I'm not great living that, you know what I mean? But I have I have some very, very, very nice cars that can
Right,
get that I can that can
right,
turn heads when I ride around. So, but you don't need to know where I ride in. You know what I mean?
right,
Just know, if you happen to see me pull up, then you see me pull up. You know what I mean? But
right, right,
you know, but it's none of nobody's business unless you see me pull up. You know what I
right,
mean? But you're not paying my car note. You know what I mean? So
right.
you know, I don't need to post no picture in it to show I got it going on or nothing like that or whatever. Other than that, me and Jesus and my kids and my family, we're gonna sit at home and watch TV,
Right,
and give y'all good music. So that's
yeah,
I'm not chasing a dream, I'm living a dream, you know.
right.
So that's
That's
me.
for sure. And I truly appreciate you for this. I know a lot of people have been waiting for this moment with you, and I'll be honest with you. Like you said, it's people that truly love you and care about you. Because at the end
Yes.
of the day, do you want quantity or quality?
Right. Come on now. That's it. That's the word, right? That's a good word right there.
It's
You
all
know.
about service, right?
That's right. That's right. Cause yeah, hey, sometimes flying in first class ain't always good service, you know. So
But I'm sure
hey,
I'm,
yeah.
I'm sure they're gonna hit you back after our show. So no need to worry. They should be the one waiting for you, sir. Thank you.
Right, right, right.
Oh my goodness. This
Yeah.
this has
So
been so wonderful, Dr.
yeah.
LaJaye Britt.
Oh, it's
So,
been a pleasure.
so who would you like to shout out tonight?
Uh, First of all, yourself,
Thank
definitely
you.
yourself, man, for being such such a sweetie. So I'm telling
Uh,
you, and such a loyal music lover, and having such a lovely platform. And so I'm telling everybody, if you're not locked in, then you're not in the know. So get in the know right now. Tap in, tap in, tap in. And you got to tap in with her because she stay in the gym working out. So
Thank you, sir.
she gonna make me, she gonna make me put my workout clothes on. And that's motivation right there. So I shout you out. I shout you out. I shout out my family for supporting me and holding me down. And definitely shout out to Tony Terry,
Yes.
one of the baddest R&B singers out there, definitely doing his thing. And he is working, he's on tour. You can catch him in the ATL if you're in that area. He is doing his thing. So shout out to my brother. Listen,
Yes.
I want you to go and stream this song, download it, download it. This song was dedicated in the memory of my godmother, who is also Tony Terry's mother, Phineas Terry. That's Tony Terry's mother who have passed away, who got her wings. So this song was dedicated in her memory. So go and download it. Go and download it.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so shout out to her. Shout out to the iconic, legendary Lenny Williams.
Mm.
Man, because you gotta be a bad brother. 80 years old and still on tour.
Mm.
Oh,
Mm.
oh, 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 hitting that
Yes.
note like you
Mm.
hitting it. Come on now. Come on. So
Yes.
shouts out to out there killing it, holding it down. Shouts out to all of you. that's doing your thing. Shouts out to everybody that have tuned in tonight. I don't know all of your names, but shouts out to everybody who have tapped in. Follow me on my pages. I will follow you back. I want you to know that I definitely appreciate you so much, whether you tuned in for me or for my sister. I appreciate you just being here. Thank you so much. So shout out to you. Shouts out to North Carolina. Shouts out to Cali. Shouts out to
Yes.
Jersey.
Jersey.
Much love.
Yes.
God bless you, man.
Thank you so much, Dr. LaJaye Britt. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment, share Dr. LaJaye Britt's platform, NNO360. And also, this is streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I'm going to post it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Twitter, X, and TikTok. And I also want to give a shout out to you too, sir. And I can't wait to see your album. Wow, this is such an exciting time.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And also shout out to Tony's Talk Showcase, Black Dynasty ENT, Driven Paper Next Level, Warriors Talk, Beats by Your Boy, Crush Ice Entertainment. I'm part of Director of Operations and Artist Relations, so I'm helping them with their radio distribution. Right. WKYJ Radio Live, Pretty of course, 35. She's really good if you're in the DMV or worldwide. She's a really good manager. I Said It, Mac Drama 1017, Brick Squad Records, Kings PR, LOE Always, King TV, We Outside. I also have a book called Ignite Your Drive on Amazon and some merch on NNO360. The book, Ignite Your Drive, guides you to harness your inner strength and pursue your dreams. And let's continue to support, please, the Unity for Social Justice, please. Let's free Master Yo and all our brothers and sisters that need our support out here, please. This has been a broadcast of Showing Love Full Circle between Dr. LaJaye Britt and myself. Thank you. Please go share this live, follow him, stream all his songs. I'm telling you guys, wow, this just gives me chills because like your songs is timeless. And
thank you.
Everyone needs to hear it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Appreciate the love, darling. It's been good. Right. It's been a pleasure, man. We're going to keep trying to give you the best music. Closure is coming to you real soon. We're going to get it to you this year. Hopefully, if it's a good Lord's will, before the year is over, Closure is coming. Closure is coming. Sir.
So, thank you so much. All right. Have a blessed evening.
Have a blessed
Salute.
I'm out.